that before a woman can become president of this country, a woman has to be a vice president.
That has come true nearly 50 years after Shirley Chisholm's own historic presidential run. Kamala Harris's ascent to vice president is glass-shattering, but not random. It comes on the heels of centuries of hard work, largely led by black women. Here's a few names you may not know, but you probably should. In the 1820s, freeborn abolitionist Maria Stuart entered politics and became the first black woman to speak before an interracial audience of both men and women. Despite her being a pioneer, at the time it was hard to get people to take her seriously. During a dangerous moment in the civil rights movement, Fannie Lou Hamer led a group of Mississippi's black Democrats to the white-dominated National Convention. The next year, the Democratic Party made more room for limited black representation, prompting some of its white members to join the Republican Party. And of course, you can't talk about Kamala without acknowledging Miss Charlotta Bass, who in 1952 became the first black woman nominated for vice president by the Progressive Party. And now, between Stacey Abrams, LaTosha Brown, and many, many more, black women are still leading the charge. And joining me now are Erin Haynes, editor-at-large at The 19th and an NBC News contributor, and Black Voters Matter co-founder LaTosha Brown. LaTosha, you are continuing this legacy. I always think of myself as part of a through line of black women who have been fighting that fight, and you are on the front lines of this fight. You led so many registrations and new registrations in the state of Georgia and turning out those voters to put Georgia in the Democratic column. How did you do that?
You know, our organization, we started the organization in 2016. We actually worked in 15 states. We worked consistently in 11 states on community building. So for the last 4 years, we have been organizing. It is deep organizing. It did not, Tuesday happened after 4 years of deep organizing. Our model is how do we build the capacity of grassroots groups? And so we work with over 40 organizations, grassroots Black-led groups in Georgia. We've been working with them continuously over the last 4 years, almost 4 years, providing support for them, but also being strategic thought partners with them. And so I am very, very happy of the work that Black leaders did, that folks on the ground. I do think that if you center the politics locally, those people who are on the front lines and provide resources for them and investment in them to really be able to do what they do well, we believe that that's the key of really being able to have a successful campaign. And I think the results speak for themselves.
Absolutely. Erin, why do you think black women for centuries have fought for the political gains of other people, or at least they're fighting and other people benefit, whether it's men or the Democratic Party, but often, you know, we're treated as an afterthought and at the bottom of the totem pole. We don't get the credit.
You're absolutely right, Zerlina. And let me just take this opportunity to credit LaTosha Brown, whose work I have seen up close and personal in my reporting on the front lines. Listen, if this election was a battle for the soul of America, as Joe Biden claimed it was, then people like LaTosha Brown, Stacey Abrams, and so many others, black women across this country, were the generals and lieutenants of the Democratic Party in terms of mobilizing, energizing, and turning out black voters, even in the midst of a pandemic. And that is part of a long tradition of black women being the perfecters of this democracy and really trying to move this union toward the ideals that we claim to have, that were written in the city where I am based, in Philadelphia, making the ideals of the Constitution real for people. And so, you know, I think even before we had the right to the franchise, even as we were sacrificed, you know, during the ratification of the 19th Amendment, for which my newsroom is named, but with an asterisk in recognition of the omission of those black women who fought twice as hard, but you know, were not given the right to the franchise until the Voting Rights Act of 1965. We do this because we know that when we fight on our own behalf, it is not just for black women, but it is for the race, it is for our community, it is for our country, and it is for this democracy.
Exactly.
Zerlina, how do you think we get? Oh yeah, go ahead, LaTosha.
I just wanted to offer that people to see us, normally when they're talking about black women, they're talking about us as voters, right? As we have the highest voting turnout rate, but all along the spectrum, we were both the political strategists. You know, we have Black women who are political strategists, like Stacey Abrams, but Nikema Williams, who leads the Democratic Party in the state of Georgia. There were women who were organizers doing work on the ground, but there were also women who were working in the Board of Elections and the elections office. So when you look all across the board, Black women were really embedded in terms of leadership, of making sure that our vote and our voices were heard.
That's such a great point, and in terms of the fact that it's not just that Black women are voting in higher numbers, but we are in every single aspect of politics in this moment. LaTosha, in terms of, you know, getting the credit that is due, how do we change the perception that Black women are just votes, you know, to get and to turn out, and flip that and say we are the leaders, we are the strategists, we're the political insiders that should be promoted to make the agenda, you know, beneficial for every American?
So thank you, Zerlina, for that question. I think we have to stand in this space. One, I think having journalists like you that provide a platform for us to really be able to share that and lift that up and really talk about the nuance way that we had to win this election makes a difference. I think it makes a difference when we look at newsrooms all across this country, when we look at the underrepresentation of Black people, underrepresentation of Black women. Having you, and I'm really excited about your show, I do think that that makes a difference. And so, because part of the challenge is we've been doing the work. I'm glad America discovered us, but we've been here all the while. And so I think now, I think we are asserting ourselves in ways that we are demanding that not only that our work is recognized, but we're also assuming our positions of power, that we're stepping into roles, we're running for more office, we're taking on the reins of leadership in different ways. And so I think part of the space that's being created is also being created by Black women as well.
Absolutely. Erin Haynes, LaTosha Brown, thank you both for joining me tonight for this incredibly important conversation that I hope we can have many more times.